The CrossFit Open is almost here. It's been a long time since we got to compete as a community. If you're watching this video, I promise to help you get your best score possible in the 2021 CrossFit Open, or maybe you're watching this in future years. This is going to help you in the 2050 CrossFit Open because the principles and the tips that we're going to talk about in today's video are timeless, and they're going to help you get better at this sport so that you can have fun working out, because that's what this is all about. Remember, the CrossFit Open is a community-wide event around the world. Anyone with an internet connection can compete against any other CrossFitter on the planet. We have celebrities that compete in the CrossFit Open. Obviously, there's CrossFit celebrities that they have to compete in the CrossFit Open. And then there's normal people like me and potentially you, or you might be famous, I don't know. But there's us. There's the CrossFit community that isn't necessarily crazy competitive, but my goodness, I still love to compete, whether that's competing against myself or against other people. That's what makes this workout community so powerful. Anyway, this video is all about helping you get your best score possible. I have a ton of free resources, little golden nuggets that I'll be dropping throughout the episode today, so stay tuned and let's get into it. So in this video, I am going to share 3 of my top tips to help you maximize your open score, even if the open, when you're watching, is less than a month away. There are 3 specific things that I want you to do to make sure that you're as prepared as possible. Okay, let's dig into tip number 1. You need to figure out your next domino. Or, if we want to use another analogy, you need to find your lowest hanging fruit. What does that mean? In the CrossFit Open, we have skills, we have all sorts of different things that we need to be proficient at to be able to perform all the movements, whether that's something as simple as a burpee or a single under, or something as complex as potentially a handstand push-up or handstand walk or muscle-ups or snatches. There's a lot of different skills that we need to know regardless of which division we're in. Even if we're in the foundations division, I can promise you there will be some form of skills, there will be some form of challenging movement in the most basic divisions, all the way up until the full RX division with equipment. You're going to have to know things like toes to bars and double unders and stuff like that. No matter where you stand and no matter which division you're planning to register for, you must figure out what you can do between now and that first open workout, or even the second and third open workouts. What can you do between now and then, regardless of how much time you have left, to knock down your next domino or to pick that next lowest hanging fruit? Let me give you an example. I often have lots of athletes that come to me and say, Ben, I need to learn muscle ups. If I don't have muscle ups, there's no way I'm going to be able to finish the open this year. And then I ask them, I say, hey, how are your toes to bar? How are your double unders? Or how are your pull-ups? How many pull-ups can you do? And oftentimes the responses that I get are like, I'm not very good at those. I can do a couple, but like I really want a muscle up. You're picking the hardest fruit from the tree, the highest, hardest fruit to pick. Don't go for the most complex movements. You need to identify as an athlete what is the movement that you might already have figured out a little bit but can improve, or maybe there's a movement where you know if you put in a solid 60 minutes of practice over the next few weeks, you could knock down that proverbial domino and be able to unlock it. So again, let me use this example. Rather than going for, let's say something like a bar muscle up, if you're someone that you kind of have toes to bar but can't really do more than a few, and you might have a pull-up or 2 but you haven't really worked on them, those are the things you need to be working on right now, because I can guarantee those movements will be in the open. Just like knowing a muscle up is a great thing to have, you must have tools like pull-ups and toes to bar and double unders in your arsenal. You must be able to use those movements and do those movements proficiently and effectively. If you go to the link in the comments below or in the description, we actually have a full resource for you that says, here are the movements you should probably know in each division. So make sure you go check that out. And then once you look at that list, identify 1 or 2 movements that you're like right on the edge. Like I'm talking, you know that you can do them, you just haven't put in the time and energy. And then guess what? You need to put in the time and energy. Normally what I suggest for our athletes is to practice 2 to 3 days per week for about 15 to 20 minutes per session. When you join a WODprep course, or if you join WODprep Masters or any of our paid coaching programs, that's usually the pace that we recommend for practicing skills. A few times a week for like 15 to 20 minutes per session. It's so simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It's not complicated, but it's not necessarily something that a lot of people are willing to do. They just kind of hope and pray they'll figure it out at some point. But I promise you, if you put in the time and energy, if you invest 60 minutes to learning those double unders, that you can maybe do 1 or 2, if you invest 60 minutes between now and that first open workout that has double unders, just 60 minutes can be what it takes to knock down that domino, and then like that, you can do unbroken double unders. So find that lowest hanging fruit, pick 1 to 3 movements you really want to focus on being proficient at, not just maybe being able to do 1 rep, but try to find a movement that you can be proficient at, and that will help you skyrocket on the leaderboard when the open workouts come around. And of course, it goes without saying, here at WODprep, we have tons of free training material on YouTube, on Facebook, but we also have step-by-step free training guides. I'd love to give you one to help you knock down that next domino. So whether you're trying to learn double unders or muscle ups or anything in between, go to WODprep.com and you can download one of our free training guides, and all you have to do is enter your name and email, and I'll send that to you so you can get working on it before those open workouts hit. Tip number 2 is get your reps in. I cannot tell you how many times I've been emailed or DM'd on Instagram or text messaged or whatever. Everyone messages me about, Ben, when should I start tapering for the open? What tapering means, if you don't know, is they start working out less and with less volume. It's something that a lot of really high-level athletes maybe will do before a competition, especially like a high-level weightlifting competition or powerlifting competition. You hit some PRs and then you taper back off so that you're ready to hit a PR for that meet. But when it comes to the CrossFit Open, you and I shouldn't be doing hardly any tapering in any way, shape, or form. And the fact that people will ask me about this multiple months before the Open has even happened is frightening, frankly. You don't need to change anything. In fact, I would say probably upping the volume a little bit between now and the Open, again, depending on when that is a good idea. Don't necessarily up the volume on super really heavy back squats and lunges, and don't rip your hands by doing a ton of pull-ups. You need to make sure you're taking care of your body. And my guess is you probably have a decent understanding of what makes you really, really sore, what makes you really maybe prone to injury or nagging, like niggles, I guess, as they're called in Europe. Or also you can identify what are the things that you know are going to rip your hands. It's okay if you avoid those things maybe 1 to 2 weeks leading up to the Open, but otherwise you should be training as is. Inside of WODprep Masters, where we release daily programming for Masters athletes 35 years or older, we have no equipment, we have with equipment, we have elite, we have standard, we have all kinds of different divisions to help you improve as an athlete. In those daily workouts, we will be programming daily workouts all the way up into the Open, because the Open workouts should just be another feather in your cap, so to speak. It's just another workout. So if you're used to working out 4 or 5 days per week, there's nothing that you need to change. Work out 4 or 5 days a week leading into the Open and make the Open workouts one of your workouts for that week. Again, the only thing that you might be okay tapering is super really heavy back squats that leave you unable to walk down the stairs. Might want to avoid those. Or something that's going to cause you to rip your hands. Might want to avoid those. You can actually see for like the first time ever, because I haven't been shaving my calluses, I have a little blood blister here on my hand. Well, that's because I didn't follow my own advice, which, by the way, you can find the ultimate guide to CrossFit hand care here on YouTube. It's on Facebook. You can just Google it. We have a whole bunch of good resources there to teach you how to avoid ripping or making blisters on your hands so you can keep them fresh and ready to hit every single Open workout. So far in this video, we've talked about finding the next domino to knock down or picking the lowest hanging fruit. We've talked about getting your reps in and making sure that you don't do anything crazy with your volume. You shouldn't taper down too much. You shouldn't really change any of your habits. It's just a normal workout. Tip number 3, and it's very obvious, but it shocks me how few people do it, is you should start practicing prior Open workouts. If you haven't already been practicing previous Open workouts, what are you waiting for? There's a very specific standard. Dave Castro, who's the guy who writes this programming, big fan of Dave, love him. Love to hate him sometimes, but I love him. Dave Castro has a formula for Open workouts. We know the kinds of weights that are generally going to be used. We know the kinds of rep schemes. We know the time domains that generally will be happening. So it really doesn't make any sense to avoid past Open workouts. One of my favorite things that I do, and this is something that you could do as well, is to look at previous Open workouts, see what your score was if you happened to register back then, and then try to beat that score. Try to see if you can get close. It's a great way to compete you against yourself. If this is your first year registered for the CrossFit Open, totally fine. But one of the best things that you can do is to practice the past workouts. That way there won't be any surprises. You'll know that they like to generally pair thrusters with some sort of pull-up or maybe a row or burpee or something like that. Like, you know the pairings. The wall balls tend to go with handstand push-ups for whatever reason. These pairings tend to be relatively consistent. And the way you can do that is just Google, 2017 CrossFit Open Workouts, 2018 CrossFit Open Workouts. My friends over at WODwell have a bunch of great resources. And then also we have a special blog post that we've released called Practice Workouts for the CrossFit Open. So you can go check out that blog post. We'll make sure to have it linked below. If you go read that blog post, just do some of the practice workouts that we put together. They're not going to smoke you. You're not going to be crazy fatigued, but you'll start to understand the different stimulus that take place in the open. You need to know and be prepared for a 20-minute AMRAP compared to a 7-minute AMRAP. The stimulus there is very different, and you should be practicing all those different domains. So I hope that you like this video. If you're someone who really wants to maximize your open score, then come join us inside of WODprep Masters. You need to be 35 years or older, but if you are, this is the best place to get coaching ever, and also through the CrossFit Open. Basically, what we've done is we've created what I think is the ultimate online gym. So it's just like your box that you go to, except it's cheaper and it's online. So it's a perfect complement for people who are looking for a little bit extra coaching and a little bit extra input if you already go to a CrossFit gym, which is great, or if you're someone who's working out from a garage gym, because 2020, frankly, pushed a lot of people to work out from home, but you're looking for community, you're looking for coaching, you want seminars, you want someone to analyze your movement, then for one low monthly fee, you can get that inside of WODprep Masters. And we also have super cool clothing. So come join us inside of WODprep Masters. The link is below, or just go to wodprep.com/WODprep-masters, and you can learn more about that. I hope to see you on the inside. Last but not least, thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and if you would love to leave a comment, I would love to know what is one movement that you are going to dedicate at least 15 minutes to practice between now and the open. What's one movement that you're going to practice? Leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll see you next week. Yep, doing great, coach. Yep, having fun. Love burpees.